Okay, so from this question, we can see that this is question number 5 of unit 2.5. We can see that there were 624 egg tarts and fruit tarts. So we can tell that egg tarts is one quantity or one item, while the other item is actually fruit tart. Now, so we cannot be using the same units to represent egg tarts as well as fruit tarts. So we're going to use two different units, two types of units in our model drawing. At the same time, after representing them in two types of units, we are then going to find the relationship between these two types of units and turn them into only one type. So what do I mean by that? I'm going to show you right now. If 4/9 of the egg tarts were sold, we can use maybe squares at the start to represent 4/9. And how do we represent a fraction in the form of a model? We merely draw 9, shade, draw 9, shade. Okay, so we'll merely draw 9, shade 4. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, can you just help me by telling me if you can see my share screen? Are you able to see my share screen? If yes, can you give me a thumbs up? Yes, okay. So 4/9 in model drawing merely means 4 units out of 9 equal units. And then fruit tarts is 2, 7. So we're going to use another form. So maybe we'll draw circles, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we shade 2 of them. Now the whole idea behind this technique of model drawing is the fact that the square might not be equal to the circle. Okay, and that's the whole idea behind this. The square might not be equal to the circle. Okay, so we're just merely using circles to represent fruit tarts, squares to represent egg tarts. That's all behind this technique. Okay, so I hope that you have learned this technique well. Now, after that, there was an equal number of egg tarts and fruit tarts. Now, this is the sentence that allows us to make that relationship. Because if they were to be equal, we then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe we'll just put 5 units here, 5U. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we know that here is also 5U. Now, it is only at this point in time that we can conclude that the square is equals to the circle, because the number of tarts, egg tarts left, and the number of fruit tarts left are both 5 units. Okay, so far? So we started off with a model drawing using 2 types of units. And the reason why we use 2 types of units is the very fact that we have these 2. Okay, we have these 2 different quantities. All right, and then from the sentence, we then make the relationship and link them together. How many egg tarts were sold? So since we already now know that the squares and the circles are the same, the total number of tarts is 624. That must tell us that the sum of all the units is equals to 624. So we have here 9 9 units for egg. We have here 7 for tarts, and that gives us a total of 16 units. So 16 units is 624. So 1 unit is 624 divided by 16. So 1 unit must be equals to 39. How many egg tarts were sold? The question did not ask us for how many egg tarts are there altogether, but rather how many were sold. So 4 units were sold. 4 units equals to 39 multiplied by 4, 156. So we conclude that 156 egg tarts were sold. And with that, solved. Okay, coming back to the strategy and the technique again. In this particular unit, our objective of the idea behind this entire word problem technique is to be able to represent first a model using 2 different types of units. That's not difficult. But to establish the relationship between these two is where we need to actually use some form of logical thinking to then relate the circle unit to the square unit before we can come up with our first step and solve it using the unitary method. Any question? Any question? Okay. Right. If not, then let us take a look at question number 7 and question number 8 and see if we can apply the same strategy. Now, question number 7.
You didn't do question 4.
Say again.
You didn't do question 4.
Okay, I'll come back to question 4 shortly. So 3 boys had a total of 1,116 marbles. So now we have 3 boys. It doesn't rule us out. It means that now we have to use 3 types of units. So usually we use square first, followed by circle. So if there is a need to, we can either use star or we can use triangle. It doesn't matter. The whole idea is to help us tell how much. All right. So Alan lost 3/5 of his marbles. So 3/5. We probably want to start off with boxes. So these are lost. Now Ben lost half. Now, and at any point in time when we are drawing the model, we do not want to make sure that we confuse ourselves by saying, oh, actually these 2 units here is actually 1 circle. It is not. Okay, nobody tell you it is the same. Okay, and then Kevin lost 1/3. So maybe we can draw triangle and Kevin lost 1/3. Now they have the same number of marbles left. Knowing that they have the same number of marbles left tells us very clearly that 2 triangles must be the same as 2 boxes. How about 1 circle? How about 1 circle? 1 circle must be equals to what? Can you just turn on your microphone and say it out? 1 circle unit must be equals to what? Anyone? Come, let's respond. One circle unit is equals to how many? How about we hear from Louis? Is Louis here? Yeah, Louis. Hello, Louis.
Yes.
One circle unit equals to what? One circle unit equals to what?
Unit.
Sorry?
1 unit.
Is one circle unit equals to 1 unit? If one circle unit is then equals to 1 unit, then can you tell me one triangle unit is equal to how many units? Anybody else? William, why not you comment? Is one circle unit 1 unit? Or is it something? Well, we're not progressing if you're not asking question or commenting. One circle unit is the same as what? Now, do not think that, oh, one box is 1 unit, one triangle is 1 unit, one circle is 1 unit. It doesn't work that way. And that is why I have been using this phrase circle unit. Okay, or in short, one circle. One circle is equals to what? Can someone please comment? Or Sherilyn? One circle is what? I don't want to be spending 1 minute live on recording and in silence. Anybody would like to comment? Chase then. One circle is how many units? Okay, so one circle unit is equals to how many units? Okay, can somebody comment? Whoever is available. One circle is how many units? William Mai. How many units? Is it 1 unit? Or is it something else? I need some response to check that you are learning well. I'm gonna mute you. So one circle is how many units? Let's hear from Kaden also. One circle is how many units?
2.
2 units. Okay, so one circle is equals to 2 units. And you're correct because the number of units must be the same. And if we have 2 boxes left, 2 triangles left, then one circle, we know that it must be the same as that. So one circle is 2 units, and from there, we can then write down one box is 1U, 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 Okay, so Louis, are you there? We cannot establish the fact that one circle is 1 unit until we make some form of comparison. All right, so step one, it's all about drawing the model. Step two is where we do some form of comparison to establish the actual number of units representing each shape. So we compare to find out how many units represent each shape. Okay, so from here we know that circle is 2 units, which means this must be 2 units, which means this is 1 unit, and all these are 1 unit. So since we know that we have gotten all the units, how many marbles did they lose altogether? All the boys have 1,116 marbles. Alan has 5 units. Ben has 2 plus 2, 4 units. Kevin has 3 units. Altogether, they have 5 plus 4, 9, 9 plus 3, 12 units. So 12 units equals to 1116. Find 1 unit. 1116 divided by 12. 93. How many marbles did they lose altogether? 3 shaded, 4 shaded. All right, 1/3. This is not shaded. Let me just erase this. Okay. And then over here, 2 shaded. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, not 5, because one circle is essentially 2 units. So 93 multiplied by 6. 558. So how many did they lose altogether? 558 marbles were lost. Are we okay with the model drawing? Yeah. So what and how do we tell that we have learned? We would have learned if we are able to get this step. Now, if at the end of, or as I go through the question, you're unable to come up with this statement, then you have not learned anything. Okay, that's the whole idea. Okay, so let us look at question 8 first. Alice, Betty, and Casey saved $1,850 altogether. Alice spent 2/5 of her money. And Betty spent 1/7. And Casey spent 1/4. And then they are left with the same amount of money. Okay, so now this is the time we want to make relationship. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We are very happy that the box and the triangle is the same. Okay, so that's 1. Then now we look at Betty. Betty has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we have 3 boxes, being the same as 3 triangles, being the same as 6 circles, what kind of a relationship can we establish? We go back to Louis again. Louis. One box is how many units? Louis, one box is how many units?
One box is
So we always give units to the smallest possible shape. We let the smallest possible shape be 1 unit. So one box is how many units? No, don't take too long.
1 unit.
Sorry?
1 unit.
One box is 1 unit. Then one circle is how many units?
It's 2 unit.
One circle is 2 units. One box is 1 unit. Can you clarify? Yep. Louis, can you make yourself clearer?
Huh?
Can you make yourself clearer? Can you explain a little bit more?
Because Alice has 2 units and Betty has 1 unit. And also Cassie also has 1 unit. Since Alice has 2 units, that means one box may be 1 unit.
No. Alice spent 2/5. So Alice spent this amount. Betty spent this. Yeah, you're right. 2, 1, 1. But they were left with the same amount of money. So from this sentence, this is where we can then tell which unit is equals to which. By looking at 2, 1, 1 does not tell us anything. Louis, have I make it clearer?
Yes.
So we compare the amount of money left, which is the unshaded ones and not the shaded ones. So can you try again? One box is how many units? One box is how many units?
One box is 2 units.
Very good. Okay, so it is from this sentence, okay, the rest of you who are listening, it is from a sentence like that that we can establish or we can relate or we can conclude that two circle must be inside one box. It is not by looking at the fraction, okay, which a lot of you have been doing, but it is wrong. And that's why I've been drawing models as I go through last week as this week. It is the model that help us to solve the problem. It is not the question and the fraction. So if you have that misconception, can you please erase that idea out of your head? Okay, so from here we know that box must be 2 units. Triangles is the same as box, so each one is 2 units. This is 1 unit, and then we can start counting. So how many units are there for find the total amount of money that the 3 girls had spent? So how many units did Alice spend? How many units did Alice spend? Someone else. Sherilyn, how many units did Alice spend? Or Wayne, how many units did Alice spend? We'll see how many units did Alice spend. How many units did Alice spend?
2.
Alice spent 2 units. Did Ellie spend 2 units?
Ellie spent 4 units
Ellie spent 4 units. Why did Ellie spend 4 units?
because in each box got two circle. That means in each box is 2 units.
Okay, who is this talking?
Akila.
Akila. Okay, so from the sentence, we know that every box is 2 circles, and then we have established that 1 circle is 1 unit. So Alice did not spend 2 units. Do not just look at the box. There are 2 boxes and say that there are 2 units. That's what I have been emphasizing, okay, from last week until now. So 1 box is 2 circles, 1 circle is 1 unit. Alice spent 4 units. What about Betty? 1C. Thank you, Akila. 1C. Wayne, Betty, how many units? Louis, Casey, how many units?
2 units.
Who is 2 units?
Casey.
Casey is 2 units. So Betty is how many units?
Betty is 1 unit.
1 unit. Okay, so they have 1850 altogether. Okay, so altogether is how many units? Alice is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Betty is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Casey is 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so that gives us 25. So 25 units equals to 1850. Find 1 unit. One 1850 divided by 25, 74. What is the total amount that the 3 girls have spent? 4 units here, 1 unit here, 5 plus 2, 6, 7. So find 7 units. That's the spending. 74 times 7. 518. So what's the total amount of money the 3 girls spent? 3 girls spent $518 altogether. Okay. So let us go back to question number 4. Lin and June had a total of 988 stickers. Lin gave away 4 knives. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gave away 4. And June gave away half. They then have equal number of stickers left. They then have equal number of stickers left. And just now I asked, who did I ask that gives me the wrong answer? Okay, never mind. I want to hear from William Mine. Okay, William Mine. 1 box is how many units?
4 plus 5, 9, 9 plus 3, 12.
1 box is 4 units. Is 1 box 4 units? One box is how many units?
5 units.
5 units. Why 1 box is 5 units? William, yes.
Because they say they had an equal number of stickers left.
So 1 box is how many units?
5.
5. Okay, thank you. So the number left must be the same. That's where we compare. All right. So the entire idea behind this particular worksheet or model drawing or technique is simple. The number left must be the same. Okay. So one box is not 4 units, but 5 units. Now, once you know that one box is 5 units, the rest of the things are simple because we're just using unitary method. So this is 5U, this is 5U, circle is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9, so this is 9U. So 5 plus 5 is 10, 10 plus 9 is 19U. 19U is 988. Now I would like to emphasize one more time. Do not just look at the fraction and say that 1 is 4 units. Now I cannot understand how this idea came about. I don't know who taught you this idea, but use model. Use model, that is the technique. Okay, so find 1 unit. 988 divided by 19. And that gives us 52. Okay, so fine. How many stickers that Lin have at first? Lin has how many units? That's the one that you have to add it in accordingly. Okay, so Lin has 9 units. So we find with 9 units, 52 multiplied by 9. Okay, and that is 20, 28, 28. Okay, I don't know what's 52 times 9?
468.
468. So how many stickers did Lin have at first? Lin had 468 stickers at first. Okay. All right, so that sums up this particular exercise, unit 2.6. Basically, I think the whole important thing to take note of is this. We draw model based on the different shapes to then translate this fraction to units. We never assume that the numerator 311 actually represent units. Now, if you still have that idea, can you please remove that from your head? We only can tell how many units after we have drawn all the model and after we have read the important sentence that tells us the relationship between all the different shapes. And in this case, the same number left. So for this exercise, it's the same number of units left. All right.